Hello everyone, welcome to Humble Acres. So we are going to work on this front axle. I don't remember if I filmed an intro for this, so I actually tore this side apart already. As you can see, it's all down to the axle, the bare axle now. Just so I could get a refresher on how to do everything, so we got to tear this side apart, and that's what I'm going to show you. I got all the other parts for the other side all cleaned up already. All the bearings are cleaned up. I have, well, some of the shims got destroyed, but we're gonna have to redo that anyway. Yeah, so we're gonna go over everything. Let's get to it. So the only thing about this is somebody had started tearing it apart already. So we're missing some of the bolts here, and the convex washers are missing as well. But I was able to find some, or I went and got them off of the other FJ, the parts one, so I have all that stuff here that I need. I kind of figured out a cheeky way of getting this off of here, the drum off of here, without having to take all the brakes apart because they're kind of stuck on there. So let's get to it. So we're gonna get this off here first, this little dust shield. There's that, and we're missing the little lock ring that goes on here, so I'll have to find or buy a new one of those. Alright, these are aftermarket, 13. That doesn't look great. And all of these are different. They were different on the other one as well, so hopefully that's not too big an issue. Yeah, every single one's a different size, so probably not the best. Then we gotta get this off. Like that. And this should just pop off because there's no locking ring. Like that. And we will put all of this in a bag so we don't forget where everything went. In a bag. Put all of that in there so we know what it goes to. Set it aside. Next thing, you got these big washers, or not washers, these big nuts on here on the axle that we have to get loose. And I just so happen to have the correct socket for that. Because when I did my brake disc one, I bought the socket for the brake disc version and this version because I knew eventually I was going to need to do these. Oh, forgot one thing. So there is a little lock washer on here that you bend when you put it together so these nuts don't come loose, and we got to pound those out of the way. So you can see one sticking down right here, so tap that back. That one doesn't look like it's done. That one's all the way down. This one's a little sharper. There we go. Get behind it there, and then tap it flat. Ideally, you would replace these. I'm probably not going to. Should be all of them. I should be able to get this loose now, hopefully. Or it's just so tight that I can't. There we go. Alright, spin this off all the way. There's one. And then we got the lock washer, which can sometimes be tricky to get off of there. The other one on the other side actually spun, so it wasn't lined up how it should. I wonder if this one's the same way. Nope, it's coming off. There we go. Just being stubborn. So that's that. You can see it's got a little notch where it's keyed. So got that off. And then the other nut, just back in there. Just line up, please. This is a 50mm if you're wondering. Alrighty, so the socket isn't deep enough to actually get on here, which is a little annoying, but I think I can get it on there a little. There we go. I think it's turning now. Yeah, it's turning. It shouldn't be that tight, honestly. It should be fairly loose, so it's not that hard. If you need to use like a chisel to tap it to turn it a little bit, it shouldn't be very hard to do that. But it's coming off nice and easy, thanks to all the grease. So I got that off now. And then there is a thrust washer in the back as well, which you gotta get off. There we go. Thrust washer, and that should be it. Well, there's a bearing there that'll come out as well, which we need. So the bearing should technically come out with everything else, but we need to get this brake drum off next. So to get this drum off, I mean, it's pretty well stuck on there. So what I learned on the last one is if I take off these wheel cylinders, everything, the whole drum and all the brake shoes and the cylinders and everything will just come off in one piece. That's what I did on the other side. So I'm gonna do the same thing here because it's a pain to try to adjust them. You can take these plugs out of here and try to adjust them, but from what I learned from the other side is these cylinders are all seized up, the threads are all seized. So it's impossible to actually adjust the pads back to give you enough room to pull them off. So let's just take all this apart. Everything is loose on the back, all the wheel cylinders are loose. So I'm actually going to take a little hammer and just tap on this, because they need to be loose to come out. There. And now the whole thing will come off, and hopefully this bearing won't fall out. It probably will though. Right there. Grab that, set that down there, and then the whole thing will come off like that. And you can see everything is all together in there. Definitely the easiest thing to do. Now we need to get all of this off of here as well, and I'm just gonna take a rag, try to wipe all this grease off of the spindle here. Much as possible anyway. Looks like it's in decent shape. Then I'm going to take my snippers, snip this wire in a couple of places, and then just pull the wire through. And then that should be free and clear. We can get the wire to come through. There we go. And now we can take all of those bolts off. I think this is, those are 12s, I believe. Yep. There we go. All those are off. This plate should come off now. Somehow. Probably just being a little fussy. Take that off. That has that gasket in there. Oh, alright. Well, everything came off. Alright, perfect. Everything's off. Alright, this axle is very strange. I'm thinking this is like the older one, but yeah, it has this weird joint in it like this. No, I don't think that's the right one. I think it's the same maybe. I don't know. They're probably both the same. But look how this works. It's so strange. And then the other one goes in here like this, and that's how this joint is. I'm pretty sure this is only on the very old Land Cruisers, but it's just very interesting. I've never seen one like this before. It's like a little ball. And then that's what this side is, and then the shaft in there is the same way. So strange. Let's see this shaft too, if we can get this pulled out. Should be able to. There we go. So yeah, you can see this is the same way. And the bushing came out, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I actually think that it was spinning on that. May have to look into that a little bit. At least it had grease in it, so that's good. Try to get a little bit of it out. This is like the greasiest job you can possibly imagine. Now, I've never done anything that had this much grease to it before, so. Now we need to get this off, which should probably come off. Easy-ish, maybe, if we're lucky. Which it should just come out, but there's a chance that that bearing's coming with it, and that's also going to keep it from... I got grease on my shoe. I am just going to put this in here and hammer. And I should have, well, maybe not. Okay, is that good enough? There we go. Got it. It just pulls the bearing apart. So that's always fun. And I'm going to leave these shims on here so we can hopefully get it back to close to where it was. And then there's just, the roller bearings are just all apart in the inside because that's just what it does. I don't know any other way of getting that apart where it doesn't do that, so. Alright, now I just gotta do the same thing with the bottom one, but on the other side the bottom one was a lot harder, so. Let's see how this goes. And this one actually has the bolts on it still, so. We gotta get that cleaned up so we can actually see where the bolts are. We might actually be able to get this off without doing this. Here, let's take all these on the back off first. So there's the washer, or the swiper or sweeper gasket back here. If we take that off, then we might actually just be able to get this off without doing anything else. So let's get these screws a little cleaner. They're just so disgusting and can't really see where they're at. Alright, last one there, and then all that should just come off, sit there. Metal one came off that side, and then this should just come off like that. Perfect. And then you got your metal ring here. Oh, there's a lot that was getting in here. Oh, this metal ring is bent. There is a lot of dirt on the inside of right here. And you can see this metal ring has a big dent in it right here. That's not good. I got two metal things here. These, gotta save those. And then we have a felt and a rubber gasket on here. And these will replace, so those are garbage. And I missed. So now we just have this bearing here, which is tore apart, so that's garbage, and then we'll have to get those inner races out. But oh, we got some roller bearings there. But that's all torn down now. Still gotta get this part though. So the whole reason to take this apart, besides redoing the seals, are, I don't know if you can see it, but there's little lines on these bearings here. So you see those little lines in the bearing race there? Those are from leaving the wheels straight all the time and driving it. The bearings wear little lines in there, so then when you turn the wheels, they tend to stick into those lines. And it like kind of is a little harder to make it off center. So that's why you need to replace these bearings, because they do that over time and that's not good. So to knock these bearing races out, Toyota puts nice little marks right in here, or little openings on the inside, on the top and bottom. So all you need to do is put your punch in here, hold it there, hit it, and then go to the other side, hit it, and go back and forth until it comes out. Like that, and they come out. Very easy. And then you just do the same on the top one. And they're out. And you can save these because you can use them to pound the other ones back in. It's kind of a nice little trick. So yeah, these are all done. Let's go up to the workbench and get the rest apart. I'm a little worried about that bushing in there too. I don't think that was supposed to come out. I'm pretty sure that's a press fit, but we'll have to see about that. Oh, my glove broke. All right, time for new gloves. Probably the big daddy for this one. Surprised the studs aren't coming out. The studs came out on almost all the other ones I was doing. Washer came out. See how it's angled? Is this one loose? Yeah, that one's loose too. Perfect. Bottom one here. Perfect. Came right off. Alright, how many shims do we got? We want to keep all the shims here. So hopefully they'll get us back to where we need to be. Or at least close with the new bearings. And we didn't ruin these, so we can actually reuse them, which is helpful. Alright, so that is all apart. We can clean that up, and we'll be good to go. The next thing we have to work on is this here. So we need to get all this apart, which isn't too difficult to do. There we go. Got it all out. And from this, we need to get this oil seal out. Get a seal puller. Cut my glove, of course. There we go. We got a new one of those, so we throw that away. Take the bearing out. Set that aside with the other one. Now we can clean up this nightmare. Just so much grease. I also was thinking I should probably just get this out of here first too. That. Some grease off my hands so I don't spread to my tools. I'm on a bolt, of course. So, get this out of here. Bam, done. Now, since there's wood all over everything, clean this up the rest of the way here. Good enough. You take this apart. I just need the cylinders really. All of this stuff we're just going to reuse. The pads have plenty of, or the shoes have plenty of life left, so, and the springs look good too. Cylinders on the other hand, we need to take all apart and redo them because they are crusty and I'm sure they're, oh, that one actually spins. Who would have thought? That one's a little stuck, but this works, which is amazing. Wow. I can't believe that. Actually came apart. That's crazy. Alright. Is this one loose too? A little bit, yeah. Well, that's good. Alright. These ones are actually in better shape than the other ones were, so. Alright. I'm going to clean everything up. We'll get back to you. I'll show you clean up one of these, I think, because it's probably worth showing. And then we'll be done. And then we'll start putting it back together. Alright, I got everything tore apart now. I'm just gonna clean everything up. It's not very entertaining to see me just like clean all the grease off of this. It's kind of boring and it takes a very, very long time without a media blaster. I was actually looking at them, but they're kind of pricey and I really just don't have the room right now for one, so maybe when we get the new shop built, if I have the money for it. So yeah, I'm gonna get all this stuff cleaned up, same as the other ones. I mean, you can see how they look when they are clean. Everything looks really nice. So, gonna get this all done and then I will be back. Alright, I think I got all the pieces here that I want to paint. I was gonna spray paint them, but I don't have enough spray paint and I really like this paint. It's very durable, so we're just gonna paint everything with this and it's just brush on. So it actually comes out pretty smooth. You can see I've used that on this frame, which it's dusty now, but it came out super nice. And yeah, I really like this paint. It's good stuff and it is very durable. So yeah, I'm just gonna move stuff up here, paint it, and then set it back down here to dry, and we should be good to go after we get all this stuff painted. Well, I've got to say that was definitely the easiest front end to take out. Those pins just came out. They weren't rusted in there. It's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, they just came out. It was weird. So we'll get this taken apart and get it cleaned up and paint it. Axle and springs are apart. I got everything labeled so I know how it went. I've done this before in other videos. I'm just going to wire wheel everything clean, get all the rust and grease and everything off if we can, and then I'm just going to paint it with the same paint I paint everything else with, Just that paint on Rust-Oleum works great. I got pretty much everything on the front hubs all painted now. There's just a couple things I probably need to spray paint, but most of the stuff is all painted. Everything's looking good. I got the front axle all done here. It's all dry now as well. So that looks like brand new, so that's good. I just have the front springs left, and I also took the front tie rod stuff apart, and this is actually from this joint here. I took this apart. So I cleaned this all up. It was actually really tight and everything. Everything inside looks like it's working correctly. So I got all this sanded down already, or wire brushed down and clean. So I'm going to paint these arms and everything. Pretty much everything that looks rusty I'm going to paint. And then we can get this put back together. Alright, as you can see, we got the axle painted here all nice. And we got all the other parts under there painted nice. They're a little dusty because I was working on some stuff, but yeah, got all that painted, so let's get it put back together.